Today we're going to talk about the key elements to building a successful mobile experience. The BYOD revolution is here. And for those of you who have heard this term and perhaps aren't familiar with it, BYOD stands for Bring Your Own Device. And this is essentially the phenomenon that people nowadays own so many mobile devices that they want to bring them into the enterprise. So basically they use them in their day-to-day lives at home and when they're out and abroad, and they want to bring them to work. And this actually represents a fairly significant challenge for IT organizations worldwide. But that's a separate problem, and we're not going to talk about that today. Instead, we're going to focus on the advantages of mobile technology and basically how a business needs to adapt in order to be able to take advantage of the opportunity that mobile represents. So I thought that this was quite an interesting fact. So worldwide, more people own a cell phone than a toothbrush. This is interesting in that everywhere you look, you see mobile devices. People are heads down, utilizing their devices constantly, whether they're at work or whether they're outside of work in their personal lives. And this is affecting all demographics, all age groups, young and old. So mobile is a very disruptive technology, and it continues to expand, and there continues to be more and more devices that people want to take advantage of. So when people think about the web, traditionally they think about accessing the web through a traditional desktop computer. But as we know, that is not the web anymore. This is the web. So the web is still accessed through desktop computers, through laptops, but it's also accessed through tablets, through mobile phones, and through a variety of new devices that continue to be released into the market almost daily. And if we go forward to the future, I think this will be the web, meaning we are entering a phase where nearly every device is going to have some element of connectivity to it. You see this today with household appliances, with the automobiles that we drive every day. The opportunities for mobile enablement are huge, and many, many businesses obviously are trying to take advantage of that and ensure that people are always on all the time. And the fact that all these devices are connected allow them to provide additional services and additional features that they were never able to offer in the past. The problem for most businesses today, however, is that we are still very much stuck in the present. And what I mean by that is we sort of have a view of the world which is more traditional, and it's related to the fact that we think that people access our content on our website through a fairly standard mechanism, which is a desktop web browser. But as we're going to talk about today, that is clearly not the case anymore. So we really do need to think differently when it comes to mobile technology because it's not going away. It is here to stay. And in fact, it's just expanding and increasing in usage. And so as a business, unless we can think differently and learn how to take advantage of the key opportunities that it presents and navigate the challenges that it represents, we're not going to be able to adapt to the new age. So we need to act differently as well. So not just think differently about mobile devices, but also take action and do things that are much different than we used to do in a more traditional world. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about content and context. Largely what I'm going to be talking about today is about your business websites, but I'm also going to be talking about mobile application technologies as well. But when we talk about content and context, when I refer to content, I'm referring to the information that you share as a business with your partners, with your customers, with visitors to your website. It's all about the what you do. You know, what product or services are you offering to your community? And then the context is really about the information consumption. Where is that information being consumed? What is the environment that the people are in when they're actually viewing your content? And we'll see that that has changed significantly in this mobile age. So content is like water. It flows through the internet channels. It's very fluid. And ultimately, I think the most key point here is that you no longer really control your content. Content has the tendency now to show up in all different channels, on all different devices. So whereas in the past you had a pretty good control over where your content was going to show up, and you could style it and lay it out in a very specific format so that it was optimized for your viewing audience, you really don't have that luxury anymore. And that really is a huge paradigm shift. So this giving up control is hard for people. It's hard in every aspect of life, and it's going to be hard when it comes to the content on your website as well. And that's where I see a lot of businesses still struggling in terms of how to deal with the content assets that they have today and being able to utilize those in this new world and creating an experience that is really engaging for their community. So another key point is that you need to get your content ready to go anywhere, because it's going to go everywhere whether you want it to or not. Content from your website is going to be utilized in a variety of channels, both on the mobile side as well as on the social side. I mean, you'll see content from your website showing up on Twitter in 140 character format. You'll see it on Facebook. You'll see it in a variety of locations, and you really don't have that much control over it anymore. So for you to take the mindset that you have any type of control over your content anymore is just not realistic. And so that means you have to think about that problem much differently. You also need to embrace the squishiness. And what I mean by that is when it comes to layout and the styling of your content, because you don't really have control over it anymore, rather than resist sort of all of these different mobile device formats, the different screen sizes, the different resolutions, you're much better off embracing it and figuring out a way that your content will work effectively in many, many different scenarios. Because the old days of just having sort of one rigid layout and expecting that to work everywhere is not realistic anymore. So another key part about maintaining your content and ensuring that it can be, can embrace the squishiness and can flow everywhere like water, means that it has to be formatted in as clean a way as possible. So utilizing clean semantic markup, for those people who are more familiar with the underlying web technologies, is really important. And this essentially means that you want to keep your content separated from the layout and the styles which are applied to it afterwards. Those things should be applied and optimized for the specific channel in which that content is being delivered. But it's really important to keep the content separated from the layout and styles. So really the separation of form and function, which has always been a key aspect of building an engaging web experience, is just as important now, if not more important now than it ever was. And so the way that you can approach this to ensure that you're going to be successful in this new mobile